And again, it's the proper talk where we make sense of the real estate industry. Last week on set, I had Vincent Agaba. And again today, I have him on set with me, whereby we are still trying to understand this landlord-tenant bill. Just like I'm trying to understand it, I know you two are trying to understand it. So
actually, the most hidden aspect lies in the ink. So if the public does not take interest in reading the act, we shall be caught off guard.
You know, they say the devil is in the footprints, in the detail.
Exactly.
Yes.
So with the managers, with the agents, with the tenants, the landlords, if the landlord cannot read the act, better appoint a managing agent to do it
On
business
their
on your behalf,
yeah.
so that they can make sure that on your bargain you're protected. Now, if the tenant you can't also read, you rather go and rent houses through a managing
agency,
so that the agency can help you
to the detail.
Understand your obligations.
Yes.
But if you go and bump into a landlord, then the landlord is not actually aware of the act.
Of the act, you're also not aware of it, then that's a bit
then you will find yourselves all too caught up into issues that
in a mix.
may
Yes.
end you into courts of
Court.
law and all that.
Yes. So, do you think there's much more that was left out of this bill that needs to be incorporated other than the regulating of the agents? Do you think there's anything else that was submitted that was not considered in this bill?
Of course, there are issues to do. I can tell you that people were talking about the issue of charging rate in dollars. Let me just pick up that.
Oh, yes, that was yes, thank you. That was a very hot cake that time. I remember mostly commercial buildings were on fire about it, yes. And the residentials in Uptown, you know, the Uptown of the CBD were on fire over that, yes.
It is here, but it is said clearly that, of course, from a country point of view, even if you were a president today,
yes,
you would not immediately come out and say you subject your country to using a foreign currency.
A foreign currency, true.
It is from just a country point of view that all services should be in a country-denominated currency. But the act goes ahead and says, as long as the tenant and the landlord
agree.
And
nice.
The
keyword on agree.
And it is
in the tenant agreement. Yes.
So it gives the two parties. It says, yes, we agree. We should charge the rent in shillings. But you can agree. And the point is,
I like that.
Should be in the agreement.
Yes, that's very
so
nice.
There is no saying I didn't agree.
I didn't agree. Yes. Or there's no waking up one morning and saying now we want to charge the whole premise in US dollars or in foreign currency.
So you can have a building whereby you have people paying in
shillings and others paying dollars.
And this happens because you have different organizations that originate
from different
sources. For example, the diplomatic agencies in this country, all their income or their money comes from their own
currency.
Yeah. They may decide to say, I want to pay in dollars because I'm an American agency.
And I earn in dollars. Yes.
As long as the landlord and the tenant, you agree.
Both agree.
And it is in the agreement.
Yes. Now, the other thing I want to also ask is because, you see, when that debate came up, there were those who said, fine, we shall charge in shillings, but we shall charge according to the running rate of the dollar at the moment. Is that also catered for?
As long as you agree.
Let's say if I find you're charging a square meter of space at, say, at $100, square meter of space at $100. So are you going to actually just convert $100 into shillings? Or is there supposed to be also a standard rating in Ugandan shillings? Because that was the concern then also at that time. Because you see, when that came out of saying, yes, they'll charge in shillings, for like, well, it's still useless because then they're just going to convert the dollar rate to the shilling rate. Yes.
No, me, I think what I see here is the spirit of understanding, the spirit of agreement, the spirit of negotiation. I can tell you, Christopher, today, if you become rigid with your building and you say, my building is going to be in dollars, there is what we call forces of demand and supply. These tenants have a right and options to go actually somewhere else. So if the tenants are very well sensitized by this law, and I come and say, me, I want to pay in shillings, and you say, me, you pay me in dollars, and I say, okay, fine, I don't want shillings. People will keep going away from your building. You will be forced to change your building to shillings. Because the point here is, if the two of you agree, it's fine. If you don't agree, go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else, yes.
You get it? So I think the issue of whether it's a daily rate or it's converted to that rate and so forth, it is subjected to being able to agree. And if you can't agree, find something else. But you cannot now sue someone for refusing you a building because you have shillings. Or vice versa. So the point is here, can you agree mutually and have a tenancy agreement?
And tenancy agreement in place.
I think that's key. Now, the other one is the tenant to install features, which has been an issue. I'm jumping you here and there, but I want just to sample things. You know, when you rent a house, you have an STV.
Yes.
You want to put a dish somewhere.
Yes.
This, the law says, you should seek permission from the landlord. I think why? Because you have seen buildings here which are decorated with the dishes.
Sure. I like the choice of what decorated, yes.
No, decorated real, it becomes interior designing.
Okay, leave alone even dishes. You have those whereby you find SCs, the SC panels outside, the fans outside the building, and you're like, what's going on?
There is another thing which we call clothes. These rails,
The rails, the balconies, yes.
Become hanging,
Become hanging rails. You move around the city center and you're finding, you know, in downtown where there are apartments, and you find down there working centers, up there residentials, and you find clothes hanged on the rail.
I don't think that even anyone likes that.
No. It actually even brings about a sense of disorganization in the estate or in the area where it is.
People jump out quickly to say, but we have no options. But I can tell you, the same people will not like it that water from the above apartment is dripping on them.
Yes.
So what the law now does is gives us and says, guys, if the landlord comes and says, please don't do that, you should not.
You should not refuse.
And probably he will find put alternatives. But today, even the market has provided what we call movable hang lines.
Yes.
There are many options out there. That's why I mentioned at the beginning that we go to rules of the game.
Now I understand it. Like I said earlier, I'd never understood football. Today is the first time I've understood football.
My best game is basketball, but also has rules of the game. So every game really must have
rules.
So football, but this is the same thing. But before, when you would tell someone, why are you hanging things on the wall? They would be like,
who are you? You know, you say it as who?
Yes, and then tomorrow there is a need for painting because
yes.
all the water is. So
and you're putting the landlord on pressure to repaint because you're saying, you know, my property looks bad and all I'm paying rent. Yes, I know. This contributed to destroying.
Look at those things. So there are many. And then the other one which I wanted you to pay attention to is receipts for rent. Many people don't mind after paying rent to ask for
receipts. Yes.
And when it comes to reconciliation of rent, when you are being demanded arrears, people start saying
that happened a lot during the COVID time. Where people had lost track of when they paid, what months were being demanded. Yes.
Now here it says you must, as a landlord, give a receipt.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so as we wind up, Vincent, as we come to the end of this talk and this show, because you see, this bill is something that we're not going to finish today. We're still going to sit down and talk about in detail. So I'm sure I'll be having Vincent or anyone else from Area Uganda. I'd love to have Ministry of Housing on board with me here. We'll have to work to seeing that happening together with Area Uganda. But as we wind up, I'd like to know, this bill, has it in any way given a pathway or a footwork to the development of our real estate industry in Uganda?
No, we started with the first preamble saying that real estate is the act of creation. I can tell you what this means now is that when you go out to the country, there's UK convention.
Yes,
you are there.
14th September, yes,
and
we are
people
attending.
Ask you and say, okay, well, how is the real estate sector for Uganda? I'm saying the numbers, the deficits, the investments, the categories, and so forth. And then ask you, are there laws that govern?
And then you stammer. Previously, we would stammer.
You know, we are developing a law.
We are pushing one. It's in parliament. Yeah.
If you are looking in the eye of the person who's talking to you, you will see the confidence levels dropping.
If it's an investor, the investor is thinking, is this where I want to put my money?
You remember my story of the game?
Yeah.
Yes. The number of injuries looking at you.
Yeah.
When there are no rules.
Yeah. That's
how the guy will be thinking about it. And then the landlord, the client will ask you, if someone fails to pay my rent, what do I do? You say, oh, at this.
Look at this here, this clause on this.
You can do A, B, C, D. The person looks at it, oh, it means I can go to the LOC, not to court, which is more cumbersome, and they come and witness, and Saturday someone can leave my place. Problem is, so what the law does, it builds investor confidence. What the law does, it protects the consumer. What the law does, it protects the investor. And once all that is done, you can now start thinking of foreign direct investment. You can now start thinking of domestic investment. You can now start thinking of their rules. This is how I will enter, and this is how I will
come out. Yes.
Now, for me, the outlier, as I conclude, is we must regulate the agent, because most of these properties are managed by
agents.
The agents must be the ones to enforce and guide the tool.
Yeah. And that is the fact that I'd like to ask Vincent, where has this bill been shared? Is it on platforms? You know, at times on Google, there are certain bills you find on Google when you search, or, you know, in different places. So has this bill been put anywhere that is accessible by the common person? Do they have access to this bill, and how?
I know for sure, think area Uganda, such institutions, or even the property show what we're doing today. This is a very good first step. That people like you who understand and think that media can be used for good stuff, sensitize the public. What we are doing now is one of those things. But associations like Area Uganda and other institutions that understand that land rights and property rights are a very important for people's confidences and well-being of the nation should pick this up and have programs to go and try even translating it in local languages. Some of the people might not actually read. How are we going to make sure that actually they can understand? Because they are tenants in one way or the other. So what you're asking is work in progress. Let's see how the regulations come out of the ministry. And us, we should actually turn this into programs and projects
yes.
that actually go down to the because
Yes.
it touches the lives
Of
almost
everyone.
I
Yes.
can tell you, there are people who rent houses of 100,000, 200. I mean, the majority of the people rent in urban areas.
Yes,
And
true.
remember, we are open in cities and urban centers.
That makes so much sense, Vincent. Vincent, it's always a pleasure having you on set. So it starts with me, you, and anyone else to make sure we push this forward. Thank you, Vincent. It was
Thank
a
you,
pleasure
Christopher.
having you on set.
Always a pleasure.